A giant frog big enough to eat your poorly named house cat, a massive snake that'd potentially make its modern kin shed themselves in fear, and a titanic dinosaur as heavy as Moby Dick's entire familial pod. Today we're talking about 10 extinct animals that were the largest of their kind. Anyway, enough yapping, let's get this Copperlight show on the road. Number 10. Meganeuropsis. This insect defied the stereotype that all oversized creepy crawlies originate from Australia, as it actually flew over the US states of Kansas and Oklahoma. It did so about 290 to 283.5 million years ago during the early Permian. You'd be forgiven for assuming this was a dragonfly, but it was not. Rather, it was a griffinfly, a related group of insects also named after an overrated fictional creature. Sensationalists online, which, let's face it, is pretty much everyone online, often call Meganeuropsis the biggest insect of all time. Recent research suggests it only weighed about 1.2 ounces, smaller than several modern insects. However, with a wingspan of 28 inches, Meganeuropsis did have the greatest known wingspan of any insect ever. So hold your horseflies and don't remove its name from the record books just yet. Number 9. Beelzebufo. Also called the devil frog by overdramatic news outlets, this was Kermit's killer cousin from Hades. It lived 70 to 66 million years ago during the late Cretaceous in northwestern Madagascar. It coexisted with a menagerie of dinosaur species, and it has been suggested it may have occasionally dined on their hatchlings. I'm inclined to agree with that hypothesis, given how gluttonous those heathenish modern frogs are. Beelzebufo is estimated to have measured 9 to 12 inches from snout to vent, making it the largest known named frog ever. By the way, if it refers to the poop chute, you're welcome for informing you. Anyway, just imagine you see what you assume is a normal frog in your garden pond, but then you realize it's a foot long and trying to eat your house cat. That's Beelzebufo. Number 8. Arthropleura. This massive millipede relative lived in Europe and North America some 345 to 290 million years ago, from the early Carboniferous to the early Permian. Back then, backboned animals hadn't yet taken over the land, and spineless creatures, aka invertebrates, were free to grow to enormous sizes thanks to a lack of competition. Basically, Earth was every entomophobe's worst nightmare. Fortunately for any time travelers who find themselves in the Carboniferous or Permian, Arthropleura was most likely a detritivore, that is, it fed on dead and decomposing plant and animal matter as well as feces. Yet, despite literally eating dung, Arthropleura may have been more than 8.6 feet long and weighed around 110 pounds, making it the largest known invertebrate to ever walk, or more accurately, scuttle about on land. Number 7. Kumimanu. Its name literally means monster bird, and this penguin was dubbed that for a very good reason. It lived on the South Island of New Zealand some 60 to 56 million years ago during the early Paleogene. At that time, Hobbitland was subtropical, meaning Kumimanu lived in an environment very different from what most people would expect for a penguin. By the way, newsflash for the vast majority of you, penguin habitat preference is not a black and white issue, and even today, the overwhelming majority of penguin species do not live in cold climates. Anyway, it's hypothesized that this bird's massive size allowed it to have dived much deeper than any modern penguin and been able to exploit food resources unavailable to them. But how big exactly was it? Well, at 350 pounds, Kumimanu was the largest known penguin ever. Number 6. Archaeoindris. This big ol' lemur was a folivore, that is, it dined on leaves, and it lived in a mix of woodlands, brushlands, and savannas, all of which were rich in lemur diversity back in the day. Like all lemurs, living or extinct, it lived on that one island off the coast of East Africa that was named after a DreamWorks movie. And despite having a name that literally calls it ancient, Archaeoindris called the island home until as recently as 350 BCE. Therefore, it was still alive when humans first arrived on Madagascar. As such, I don't think I need to tell you how it went extinct. We ate it into oblivion. Anyway, weighing an estimated 352 pounds, Archaeoindris was the big as a gorilla and was the largest known lemur ever. In spite of its size, it was still agile enough to climb trees as well as to move it. Number 5. Oncorhynchus rostrosus. This supersized salmon lived along the Pacific coasts of North America and Japan. Unfortunately, it lived 12 to 5 million years ago from the middle to late Neogene. And I say unfortunately because I will never get to know if it tasted just as good as its modern relatives. One thing that did separate it from its modern relatives was a pair of small tusks protruding from the tip of its snout. Why was this spike-toothed salmon trying to channel its inner warthog? It's thought to have fed on plankton, so it definitely didn't need the tusks to secure prey. Instead, hypotheses include to build nests, to ward off predators, and even to shiv other salmon, but ultimately we're not quite sure. Nevertheless, a fish measuring 7.9 to 8.9 feet long surely would have been quite the sight. Oncorhynchus rostrosus was the largest known salmon species of all time, after all. Number 4. Oh dear. Josephoartigasia monesi. Yes, I did have to look at a pronunciation guide while saying that, don't judge me. The capybara has not only a much more easy to pronounce name and is extremely memeable, but also weighing 143 pounds is the largest living rodent. However, some 3 to 2 million years ago, during the late Neogene to early Quaternary, the South American country of Uruguay played host to a rodent of an even more unusual size. J. monesi, as it shall henceforth be known, is believed to have had an extraordinarily powerful bite of up to 5,000 newtons. Not only is that way more fig newtons than anyone should logically eat, but it rivals the bite forces exerted by the jaws of large living crocodiles. Why J. monesi needed such an OP bite is unknown, but weighing an estimated 1,050 to 1,100 pounds, this forgotten cousin of Mickey Mouse was the largest known rodent of all time. Number 3. Titanoboa. Half the world's population is said to feel anxious about snakes. If you're one of the 50%, then please keep watching and even consider liking the video if you're enjoying what you're seeing, because I need the validation. 60 to 58 million years ago, during the early Paleogene and in the wake of the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs, Colombia was home to every ophidiophobe's worst nightmare, the 43-foot Titanoboa. It's thought this mother of snakes weighed around 1,610 pounds. If correct, then it would have been the largest known snake of all time. Another extinct species of Vasuki indicus may have been grown slightly larger though. However, other snakes need not shed themselves in fear, as it's believed Titanoboa spent most of its life in and around water, where it mainly dined on fishes. Who'd have thought the IRL basilisk was a pescatarian? Number 2. Ichthyotitan. Today, marine reptiles, including sea turtles and sea snakes, are far and few between. There are only about 90 or so species, but during the Triassic period, the world's oceans were dominated by them, and if one animal were to be titled king of the ancient waterways, it'd be none other than Ichthyotitan. It lived some 205 to 202 million years ago during the late Triassic and patrolled the seas that covered what is now England. As its name suggests, it was an ichthyosaur, a group of marine reptiles that is often compared to modern-day dolphins, but with Ichthyotitan, I think a whale analogy would work better. This predatory sea reptile is known from only 2 fragmentary lower jaw bones, but paleontologists have been able to determine Ichthyotitan measured 82 feet in length by scaling up the bones of other related ichthyosaurs, making it the largest known marine reptile of all time. Number 1. Argentinosaurus. With a thigh bone longer than Shaka's tall and a body mass equal to that of a herd of elephants or a mother freaking whale, it was one colossal sauropod dinosaur. Argentinosaurus lived 96 to 92 million years ago during the late Cretaceous in, surprise surprise, Argentina, and is believed to have increased in size by 5 orders of magnitude from hatching to adulthood. In layman terms, it got very big. So how big exactly was it? Well, estimates vary, but we're talking about an animal somewhere in the range of 98 to 115 feet in length and 72 to 88 tons in weight. Therefore, even if it wasn't the absolute largest, Argentinosaurus was at least one of the largest land animals known of all time. By knocking down trees and the like while foraging, it surely would have had a huge impact on its environment, just like